The price of love, a Reddit confession. I-28F finally broke free from my family after years of being their personal ATM. Here's my story. I still remember the day I got my acceptance letter to the honors program. My hands trembled as I read it, a full scholarship plus stipend. I ran to show my parents, nearly tripping over the pile of their unpaid bills scattered across our coffee table. "Mom, Dad, I got in," I shouted, bursting into the kitchen. Mom barely looked up from her phone. "That's nice, honey. Speaking of school, can you loan me $300 for your brother's tuition payment? He's behind again." Dad nodded, already reaching for my purse on the counter. "We'll pay you back next month, promise." They won't, I thought, the familiar knot forming in my stomach. Just like the last 8 times. I plastered on a smile anyway. Sure. Inside, I calculated 18 months of loans, totaling over $15,000. None repaid, but they were family. And family helps family, right? Ryan, my high school boyfriend turned husband, saw it before I did. "They're using you, Ellie," he'd say, watching me transfer money to my sister's account at 2 a.m. because her electricity was going to be shut off. "Again." "It's just temporary," I'd answer, the phrase worn smooth from repetition. But Ryan's eyes held mine in the darkness of our tiny apartment. "Your research position at the university pays well, but not well enough to support 4 adults who refuse to work." I'd turn away, unable to face the truth in his words. Grandma's funeral was the turning point. As we stood by her grave, my uncle approached. "Such a shame about the house," he said, not sounding sorry at all. "What house?" I asked. "Grandma's place. Your parents are selling it next week. Got a buyer lined up already." My blood went cold, but Grandma left that house to me. In her will. Uncle laughed. "Oh, honey, your dad got you to sign over your inheritance rights 3 years ago. Don't you remember that financial aid paperwork for your master's degree?" I remembered. I'd trusted them. Signed without reading. That night, Ryan held me as I sobbed. "That house was worth almost $500,000, I whispered. "It was supposed to be our fresh start." He stroked my hair. "We can still have one." The research opportunity in Morocco came 2 weeks later. 2 years studying ancient textile preservation techniques with the country's leading experts. Full funding, plus a generous stipend. I showed the email to Ryan, my voice flat. "They want me to leave in a month." His eyes lit up. "This is it, Ellie. Our chance." "But my family." "Your family who stole your inheritance. Who've taken nearly $30,000 from you since we've been together. Who call only when they need something." The truth of his words hung between us. That night, my phone buzzed with a text from Mom. "Honey, Dad's car broke down. Can you send $2,000 for repairs? Urgent." For the first time, I didn't respond. 3 months later. The Moroccan sunset painted our small balcony gold as Ryan and I clinked glasses. To 6 weeks without a single financial emergency, he toasted. My phone hadn't rung with a crisis call in over a month. After the initial barrage of increasingly desperate messages, they'd finally understood I wasn't their backup plan anymore. "Did you send the paperwork?" I asked. Ryan nodded. "The foundation is official. The Eleanor Graham Memorial Scholarship for first-generation college students will award its first recipient next fall." I smiled, picturing Grandma's face. The money I'd been saving, no longer diverted to family emergencies, would help students like me. Students with dreams bigger than their circumstances. "They'll call again," I said, watching birds soar over the ancient city. "When they realize the well is truly dry." Ryan took my hand. "And what will you say?" I thought about years of giving pieces of myself away. Of love that came with conditions and price tags. Of the weight that had lifted from my shoulders since we'd left. "I'll tell them I've already given enough." Edit. Thank you all for the support. To those asking if I'll ever speak to my family again, I don't know. Maybe someday, with very clear boundaries. But for now, I'm learning what it feels like to live for myself. And yes, we really did set up a scholarship in Grandma's name. It seemed fitting that her memory would help others escape situations like mine.